Well, my experience with the city has been one of respect and cooperation when it comes to housing issues. And I've been on a UNDC board, it's an Urban Neighborhood Development Corporation, for close to 5 years, so I've had the opportunity to work very closely with the city managers. And what I have found at every single level with the city is just cooperation. And we've had, I know there's been maybe some comments about how difficult it is with the city, and I've never once in all of these years experienced that. Over the years, last 10 years, I've been very involved with the National Association of Home Builders, and I'm on the board of directors at a national level in Washington, on the board of directors in Ohio here as well. And what I have found is in my meetings that I've had in Washington and around the country with other builders, I mean, literally hundreds of builders, is that we don't have the same problems with the city administration that they have around the country. What we've found is that when we start to talk about issues with the city and the government and working with different administrations, I get nothing but grief I hear from the people from around the country. And I finally chime in and say, you want to hear something positive? And what I talk about is very simply, look at the programs that the city has. Look at the programs we're involved with. My phone calls get returned. And we're very much in from the very beginning on a lot of these and discussions on how to make the programs better. Carmine, for years you've worked with the city, much longer than me, and I know you've worked with some of the inner city new home programs we've had. You've had Bisson, City View, we've got Honadel, and long time before me, I mean, you were involved, and I'm sure that this has been a constant.
Yeah, well, what this is about for me, it's about leadership. I mean, the city is talking about having a recall election. It's a strong mayor type of government. It's a city charter in the state of Ohio. It's not a city manager type of government here in Akron. The mayor has to be a leader. And for all of our faults, and the mayor has his faults as I have mine, but he's a leader. He's not afraid to fail. He'll look at bold ideas. He'll advance bold ideas if he thinks they're correct, and he does his homework on them, bouncing them off various people, and he'll get behind them. Look at the school system. Look at the Education Action Partnership, an idea I came to him with that he immediately saw the win-win, got the community development people involved in it, the planning department, and before I knew it, we had a Education Action Partnership with the City of Akron Schools, where they've now built, I believe, 15, 16 homes, and a number of students throughout the years have now gotten training on actual homes. The Coburn Street, the first project we did as a group, Blake Place, I mean, I can go on and on, City View. All he wanted to make sure is we had a group of people who could perform and do the work. We didn't get any favors, any special help, but he wanted to make sure we could produce the housing that sits there now. And like I said, to me, this is all about leadership. And, leaders go out and do things. And that's what the mayor's done all his life.
Well, he's strong. Yeah. He's not afraid to take a stand, and once he comes up with an idea, he's not afraid, like Carmine said, to fail. And he pushes it forward, but he doesn't do it in a vacuum. He reaches out to smart people, and he asks questions, and he gets the good information, and he puts it all together, and that's the reason, I believe, that this city is moving forward. The Neighborhood Stabilization Program, it's federal money that's available. It's being earmarked by the federal government to come into the cities to help to buy and renovate foreclosed and blighted properties. And the first thing the city did when the news came out that the money was going to be available for different cities is that he called in all of the nonprofits from all over the city and from everybody, and he wanted everybody's opinion. They wanted to know, what can we do to make this a good program and a successful program, as opposed to some cities where I've talked to people around the country, and they've said that the city government is very closed about it. They don't want to hear from anybody else. They don't want any input. They know how to do it. We're here, once again, to just back up the cooperation part. They brought everybody in, and now they'll have a very successful program because of it, because they've heard from the people, like Carmine said, the people that do the work and how to make it successful. And that's one of the reasons I'm so behind this mayor. He has come to our meetings, this is the respect part. When he's made a tough decision that maybe isn't so favorable for us, but it was for the betterment of the city, he's come to this board and he's sat down and explained his decision to us, just so we understand each other. And that's just respect at every single level. And you will see that over and over at every single level of management here.
And if you look at Northeast Ohio and the straits some of the communities are in, and they're all doing their things, whether it's a smaller city like Lorain, Youngstown, Toledo in the northwest part of the state. I mean, Akron outperforms even Cleveland in every job formation, almost every indicator. We're up there. And when I talk to, and believe me, I've lived in Akron for 21 years. Before that, I was on the far west side of, I guess you could say, the Cleveland market. But I was more familiar with the Cleveland market and before I came here. And when I talk to my friends back there and everything, they always bring up, again, the leadership. They said, you guys are so lucky that you have a strong mayor that has some continuity. He's always worked with people, whether it's been the university president, the biomedical thing, the corridor. He had to work with the hospital execs on that, the chamber. He's worked with them, and I know he's done the same thing with the chamber as he's done with us. He's gone in to sometimes what could have been a little of a hostile crowd for some of the decisions he's made, and he's gone in and explained why he has done it. He didn't have to do that if he was such a hard, autocratic type of person, characteristics. But he went in and did that, sold his case to, in our case, my members and other groups, other members. And I'm sure he didn't have 100% behind him when he left that room, but he sure as heck changed the minds of some of the people after they listened to what he was faced with in making those decisions.
About 6-7 months ago, I had an opportunity to meet with, I was in a meeting in Washington with a fellow who's the chief economist for the National Association of Home Builders. This is the fellow who advises Bernanke, he advises Congress, so he really has a pulse on what's going on. And he and I talked about Akron, and we talked about the recovery, because I wanted to be able to tell my members what's going on. Okay, when can we see light at the end of the tunnel? And even though, we're faced with some tough times right now, he looked at Akron and the leadership, okay, about where we're at as opposed to where we could have been. And we talked about job growth is probably the most important part of creating housing. Because, I can't remember the statistics, but that is the #1 creator of homes. And if you look at, just like what Carmine said, you've got, the city has gone from manufacturing, and yes, we do need to make things, okay, but right now the mayor has taken us to a knowledge-based type of an economy here, which is what is happening in the economy. And Dr. Crow mentioned, he says, well, you guys are medically based now? You guys, you're strong job growth potential is how he put it. You've got the medical community, you've got technology, you've got the University of Akron, which we constantly invest in, you've got government. So all of those are good, strong job growth opportunities. Well, right now we might be a little bit off, but as this recession chart starts to change, and we are starting to see the bottom of this, we have, as Dr. Crow put it, he goes, an opportunity to outshine many, many cities in this country because of that strong leadership and where he's taken us. It's up to us to what we do with it, okay, but the opportunities are there now.